open session. Anyone out there who'd like to speak to the public, now is your time for public comment. Hearing none, stepping down as the director and being a member of the community. In 2022, 62 of Britain's 179 government leaders resignated because of a lack of integrity. Not much was said about the cause of these resignations. Some of you probably remember back at that particular time, it was only a couple of years ago. The event was triggered when the country's health minister attended the annual parliamentary prayer breakfast. And knowing how the elections went in England in 2022, he felt that he was convicted of the integrity and in public life. He resigned. And 62 others, ministers in his cabinet, and the cabinet of England, followed his example, if you remember the news. And it wasn't long after that that Boris Johnson himself had to resign. The prophet Isaiah says, the lack of qualified leaders is a judgment of God. Compare our founding fathers to today's men in office. Any political party. Think of our politicians. Think of our scientists. Think of our businessmen. Think of our military leaders. Think of our educators and schools and colleges. Think of those producing our literature today, our art, our entertainment. The prophet Jeremiah said, if a nation turns from its evil, then I will not destroy it as I planned. And I think England may have done that in 2022. And my comment is, where are we as a nation? All right. Any other public comments?
Well presented there, Mr. President. Well, I'll just share one thought with you. They all want to be liked. When you want to be liked, you get yourself in trouble, sir.
Voluntary public roll call. Anyone out there want to let us know you're there? All right, moving on. Consent calendar. CC1. Approval of the checks and the vouchers. Any questions? I have a motion then for CC1. Motion, Director Wallace. Second. Director Stewart. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 2 minutes. M1 and M2, a special board meeting and the regular board meeting. Any questions about the minutes? All right, I need a motion to approve M1 and M2.
I'll give you the motion. I'll second it.
Okay. Yeah, so Greg Washington motioned it, and that was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll do the second on M1 and M2.
All right. I thought it was Greg. I wasn't sure what noise went with
The
there.
motion was Washington and second by Grant.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. New business, NB1, approval of task order 2024-3 with AECOM.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is for a project that we need the wastewater plant for a staging area to put drying sludge that hasn't quite dried all the way, so they could move sludge out of the sludge beds and then onto the slab. They can contain it, kind of have a place where they can term it. This is for a design. We received a proposal for a fixed fee of $25,600, and it's not just a slab with walls on 2-foot high walls on three of the sides. When the district has a project that is going to be more than $60,000, a bid package has to be prepared to advertise. So this is the reason why we're having them do this design, because they have to prepare drawings and a bid package so we can then advertise. So I'm requesting that the board authorize this expenditure, which is under capital project number 02237.
Is it going to be totally contained, or will it actually leak out to somewhere?
No, there'll be a drain that's going to be put on one side, so that any runoff will go into a drain and back into the plant.
Any questions?
Yeah, the 25 feet, that cannot exceed that number on the
No, it's 6 feet, so therefore that's what they get paid.
Okay, and then, and then from that goes into the bid package that the folks look at to see what they're bidding on.
Yeah, in fact, items NB5 and NB6 are examples of the bid packages that we'll be putting together.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so 25,600 is the fixed cost to design the project.
Yep.
And then that project goes
to advertise for a bid. Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Any other questions about NB1? I have a motion for NB1.
Second.
Director Stewart made the motion. Second, Director Webb. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. NB1 is approved. NB2, approval of task order 2024-4 with for the sludge dewatering project design.
So one of the things that we've discovered as we've been operating this plant is that the sludge drying facilities have not been adequate. The sludge beds haven't been adequate. In fact, right now we have what's supposed to happen. We have 12 sludge beds. What's supposed to happen is we put so much sludge in there up to about say 2-3 feet. Put it in there, and then we have a telescoping valve that, as the solids in the water start to separate and go down, we drain the water off. We actually have a decant valve. It decants the water back to the headward. So allows the sludge to compact and start to dry. Because of a lot of reasons. One, we don't think there's adequate space in the beds, plus all the rain that we've gotten in the last couple seasons. We actually have stacked the sludge as high as we can. Right now, 4 beds have stacked sludge. So we're in a situation where we're not going to be able to probably get that sludge dry enough to then remove it, and it's going to exacerbate next year's issue. And we're getting some good weather now.
What is this building?
Yeah, we're not catching up. So ideally what you'd see is during the wet season, you kind of stack it up. Then dry season, you have a chance to clean it all out. And then you go through that cycle again. Well, last year we had two beds that were stacked. So we thought, well, we're just trying to catch up. It was a wet year. We had the hurricane come through, all that stuff. Well, now it's 4 beds that are stacked. And, Ryan he doesn't have any more hair to pull out, but we talked about it last year about actually putting a mechanical dewatering device in. Looked at built filter presses. Looked at which is just a different technology. The staff decided that a screw press would probably be the best choice. So we asked AECOM to give us a proposal to put together a screw press very similar to what they have in Tehachapi. So Tehachapi has a screw press in a building with you have to add a polymer to it to help it clump together. And we went and visited that site. I went with the staff. We went and looked at it. In my head, I had an idea of what the price might be for all that stuff. Put together a budget. This is actually one of the items that we're going to be considering in the upcoming budget ask for this fiscal year, is to actually fund this project. But this is just for the design, which this is on a T&M not to exceed, so different than the last fee, of $298,000. And this, the project description is in the third paragraph of the staff report, but it basically is a metal build. It's going to have metal building to house the screw press. It's going to be able to house the polymer dosing system, the controls and electrical system. A new electrical service is going to have to be installed because we're maxed out on our electrical service out there. The concrete pad that you just approved the design, we're going to put a cover over that so that when we do water sludge and we are going to get rain, we're going to keep it sheltered so we don't wet the same stuff we're dewatering. So that's all covered in this project. So it's currently, the design is actually in the budget right now. It's under capital project 02242, sludge thickening. And we have about $600,000 in there right now, so we're going to be using half of it for design, $298,000. Recommend that you.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
So the 298, we build the building out and all that. When we get the sludge cleaned up, what then? So we just have this building built out. So it's like a one-trick pony. Once we get the sludge out.
No, this is going to be an ongoing operation. So to keep using the beds, basically, because we don't have capacity in the bed.
Okay.
We're going to and the other thing about the beds, just to be aware, it is super labor intensive. So our staff has to go out there with a tractor and actually get into the bed,
like
turn the stuff over. Yes.
Like the compost.
And so these are 12 beds. They have to wait for them to get dry enough to get the equipment in there. And so it's extremely labor intensive. What this is going to do is shift some of the labor away, or some of the labor away, and then put into mechanical dewatering, so that it'll free them up to do other things that are needed out there as well. So it just didn't seem, from a practical point of view, it didn't make sense to hire more people
to have to do mechanical.
Yes. So that's what this is for. And this 298 is just for the design to create a bid package that can go out to bid. There's like I said, there's going to be a line item in the upcoming capital budget that will address the construction portion of this. This is just to get the bid.
What's your timeline from the design to get it to the bid?
I am hoping to get. It probably won't be completed by the end of next fiscal year. It probably won't. The construction portion, but I'm suspecting it'll be the early part of the following fiscal year. So not fiscal year 24-25, but 25-26.
26.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably late 25 is what I'm thinking.
Any other questions? All right. Need a motion for NB2, approve of task order 2020.
So move.
Motion, Director Washington. Second, Director Wallace. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. NB2. NB3, approval of task order 2024-5 with a ECOM.
Okay. So this one is also related to the wastewater plant. This one is related to the grit removal. Now, I've asked the question, why was the grit removal not expanded with the rest of the plant? So the grit removal that's there is a 500,000 gallon MGD, 500,000 gallon grit removal system. We expanded the plant to a 1.27 million gallon per day. We did not expand the grit removal. The thought was, and I understand the thinking. The thought was, well, we're going to let some grit pass by. We're not going to capture all of it. We're going to let some grit pass by because we had there were some cost concerns. I guess way back then, it was going to exceed what the estimated budget was. So they decided to use that as a cost-cutting measure. The problem is that while that's not an unreasonable assumption, the hydraulics in that grit chamber that's there hydraulically can't handle 1.27 MGD. So while it's okay for the grit to pass through, you can't get the liquid through either. So what ends up happening is they have to stack the water, the peaks that are coming through the day, they have to push that out to another pond. So they pump it to a pond, let it flow back, and then pump it again to the pond when it's during slow periods. They're basically using it as an equalization basin, which is, it's not really designed for that, it's simply designed for off-spec water. So water that doesn't meet the discharge requirement. So so to alleviate that, expand the grit to what your plant actually is supposed to do. And you want the grit out of your plant because it'll end up in the ponds that you just built. And then you got to clean the ponds out, and that's to dredge those.
Where's out the machinery so much faster too when you're done.
But the energy, you use the energy twice. Get it there.
Well, that's one thing that you're doing.
Yeah, that's one thing. You're duplicating the energy.
Absolutely. So this it makes sense to expand it. The proposal we received from AECOM is $120,000. Along with approval of that, what I'm also asking approval of is a transfer from capital project 02246 to capital project 02245. There's some remaining funds in 0226. I'm requesting a transfer of $25,000. That'll be reflected in the minutes.
Full price?
The total price is $120,000. You currently have $100,000, but I want to transfer $125 just to make sure that we have enough.
But the 120 that would be for the whole to get it up to where
no, that's just the design.
No. So what's the whole project going to cost?
Yeah, we haven't even got to that yet. I had a couple comments, if I may.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
This is just me personally, Kim. I think we continue to get a multiplex of skill sets from you tonight. You're our resident engineer. As you know, this project started long before you came on board, and why we thought using an existing 0.5 MGD grit removal system to work efficiently in a 1.27 MGD treatment plant, especially during peak influent flows, is beyond my comprehension. Seems like we're now tasked with needing to upgrade at the plant at today's prices, and today's prices aren't yesterday's prices. I'm glad you prioritize this issue, as I'm sure the current situation is resulting in additional man hours during regular and overtime hours. So as I mentioned before, I think quality control safeguards in place, as well as frequent design and engineering meetings, will help us tremendously in the future.
Yeah, appreciate those comments. Again, when I come in and look at this project forensically, I understand that I'm not here to criticize what's happened in the past, which I don't, because I wasn't there to understand the economics behind it and what's going on, and just the decisions that have to be made. So I'm not here to criticize those decisions that were made, because you advanced the plant, you got a plant going, you're getting the benefits rising to the top, I think.
Now, question, in the whole wastewater treatment process, the grit removal, that's like the second process, which you have the screening, then the grit removal?
Correct.
So that's a real integral part of the whole operation, huh?
Yeah, again, I understand why it was done, but yeah, it is. I mean, you don't want to accumulate grit in your aeration base, because they're not really set up to drain and clean. You would have to completely empty them and dredge them. I mean, quite frankly,
right.
That's what you have to do.
So, sir, a question for you.
Yes.
I'm looking at these numbers so far: the 120, the 298, 25, not 200. So those are just the setup costs, for lack of a better phrase, the term on it. So we're looking at over $1 million at some point for all this stuff to come to life.
So you asked the question you asked. You want to know what the capital project?
Well, no, the desludge watering. The grit removal project. The design is 120.
Yeah.
But it still has to go out to bid.
Yeah.
But we don't know that number yet.
You don't know the number yet, but the estimate would be probably overall cost, including the design, probably about $1.5 million.
So we're looking for that at probably 1.3 to 1.4 million.
1.5.
That project.
I'm talking about the things on N1 through N3.
No, for M1, I know it's going to be probably around $200,000. For NB2 is going to be somewhere in the $3 million range.
Oh, M3.
And 3 will be
How about MB2?
3 million.
3 million for M2, and then how about M3?
M3 about 1.5.
1.5. But
I'm not bidding these, so don't hold me to those numbers.
No. I know the reason I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is when things come up, like we go out to a rate study or whatever, and things come up. Folks are gonna be, oh my goodness, well, folks.
So all these things that we're asking you to approve, they're all being accumulated into our budget.
Yes.
Our 5-year CIP, which is also feeding our rate.
But that's what
connection fee study.
I want people to be able to hear that when these things come up, they didn't come about a mistake or accident, that there's things now that's going to make it more efficient down the way or whatever. But if you don't do it, you almost stop what you got. And gosh, look at the manpower hours. I would say if you can do this, that's going to save manpower hours and do it more mechanical. That's body save when these people moving this stuff around, but that's also time invested to get weight. So anyway, we're looking at 3. You said 1.5 million.
3 million and about 200,000.
Okay.
So close to $4 million. Close to $5 million.
I got you, sir. Okay, I got the total. Okay, and that's guesstimated. That's not actual. That's guesstimated.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Jim, you need a new name tag. General Manager / Resident Engineer.
Any other questions about NB2?
But NB3.
NB3, this will be NB3.
NB3.
NB3. NB3. I have a motion to approve the task order 24. Motion Director Washington, second Director Stewart. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Moving on to NB4. NB4, approval of a letter of the intent with Chiquita Canyon LLC to prepare a definitive agreement relating to the treatment and disposal of industrial waste.
Thank you, Mr. President. I talked a little bit about this in my past 2 GM reports about the potential for Chiquita Canyon LLC, who operates a landfill over in the Santa Clarita area, that experienced an increase in their leachate, and so they're scrambling to find places to dispose of it. And they reached out to us about our ponds that we currently have. And I've tried to, in general terms, give you bulleted points, and I'll go ahead and read them so that if there's any questions, they certainly can come up. So we're not going to accept leachate for treatment and disposal in our domestic wastewater plant. So we're not taking it in the 1.27 plant that we then percolate. The district would entertain operating the old treatment and evaporation ponds to accept the leachate. So basically, all the ponds that we need to clean up the sludge and basically abandon in place. We would entertain operating those for this use. The district has accumulated sludge in the ponds that desires to be removed off-site. Chiquita Canyon would fund the removal of the sludge off-site. So I've estimated, we've had a consultant estimate the removal off-site to be somewhere in the order of $6 to $7 million. Chiquita Canyon will do that for us as part of this agreement, if it comes to pass. CCL would fund the improvements at the ponds that would enable them to accept leachate, including the construction of an impermeable barrier in the ponds. So we're going to have to meet waste discharge requirement permits and how they're constructed, how they're monitored. We would be the ones applying, but they would pay for the consultants and for the studies that we need in order to get the permit.
Is Alaska in the...
So we reached out to Lon. Yes, we did reach out to Lon and tell him what our intent was. If you take action to approve this tonight, I'm going to forward this letter of intent to them so they know exactly what we're planning to do. District would operate the ponds as a separate treatment and disposal facility, with CCL having exclusive rights to capacity for a period of years. So they're putting all the money into it, so they want to have exclusive rights to capacity for the first, I think it was 5 years. First 5 years. And they're saying 300,000 gallons per day.
300,000.
300,000 gallons per day.
Well, that makes some income, right?
Yes. So they would pay a treatment and disposal rate for each gallon discharged to the pond, with a minimum total amount annually guaranteed. Right now, that annual guarantee is $500,000. Would be the annual guarantee. I told them there's some caveats with that because technically we can't make a profit. So we just have to figure out some ways on how we can potentially get around that and allow that to happen. CCL would fund and assist the district with reports and permitting required by regulators to operate and monitor the facility. I've already mentioned that. After the exclusive period is expired, the district may utilize the remaining pond capacity in any way it chooses. And that's one of the ways that we're thinking about using it, is actually expanding our off-spec water pond, because we don't think there's enough capacity there. So we're thinking about using that. And then after CCL ceases discharge to the facility, they will fund the removal of any residuals from the discharges of the ponds. In other words, they'll clean up after themselves. After it's all finished, they're going to clean up all the sludge. So we attached the letter of intent. Council has been involved in the back and forth. And then council, of course, will be involved in the development of the agreements. This is just a letter of intent right now. It's saying, here's all the things we're generally going to agree to, and then we're going to work out the details as we get there. So staff's recommendation at this point is to approve the letter of intent, so we can move forward.
When we're talking about industrial wastewater, are there chemicals in there that we could end up being responsible for down the road?
That is a concern, and that's one of the reasons why, that there needs to be an impermeable liner in the pond, that there needs to be some type of leak detection that's going to be required. That is a concern, and that's going to be...
That's what we'll probably...
We'll want that as well.
Yeah,
so we absolutely want that.
That's their concern.
Yeah, well, yeah, yes. Our concern too.
Yeah.
Are they doing any testing or anything before we take?
Yeah, so they pre-treat at the facility, and they actually take tests of every load that they would deliver. So we would have documentation of all the testing.
Chain custody.
Yep, all that. And they have to test to a degree so that it is not hazardous waste from a regulatory point of view.
So I have a question, sir.
Yes.
It says 300,000 gallons per day.
Yes.
Okay, can our road handle that much coming in to the...
So that's part. I didn't include that in the bullets, but that's part of the improvements that they would have to do is do the improvements to the road to be able to receive those loads every day.
Okay, and then at 300,000 per day, do we have capacity out there for that much coming in every day, all day?
Yeah. So before you built your plant, and you basically were evaporating before you built your plant, right? So your capacity probably was about 1.1 mg right now. So 300,000 gallons per day is very doable with what we have.
Okay, then I had one other question I had. Coming in, they go, so any issues, any emergencies, whatever, are we handling the emergency, they handle the emergency, and they're paying us back with any of this handling?
When you say emergency,
so something goes on out here,
so we're operating the plant. It's our
that you have to bring on for additional staff to help with this process here. We pay them initially, and they're going to reimburse you, the district.
So they're basically saying, we're going to do all the improvements to your plant. We're going to pay you this amount. And we left some wiggle room there as to renegotiate that amount, because since we're not operating it, we don't know what our real costs are. They're saying, okay,
Towards our sewer treatment plant that was redone, so that we had that capability of doing that. Wouldn't that be legitimate?
yeah, I mean, our accountant's not in our meeting, but we could probably find some ways to figure out how those costs can be spread.
Those are only available because of the money we've already spent on the facility.
That's a very good point.
But we're going to have to come up with some type of funding to hold on to in case that there's repairs and stuff that needs.
Absolutely. We should have a
It's only
reserve.
going to be so much that they're going to be willing to take.
Right.
All
Absolutely.
right, any other questions about NB4? All right, a motion to move ahead with NB4. Director Wallace makes the motion. Second. Second, Director Stewart. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion NB4 carried. NB5, approval of track water service line replacement project authorizing for an advertisement to go out for bid.
Thank you, Mr. President.
That's trickle track.
I think trickle is actually misspelled. I think she's two L's, but so this, when the designs are done for the other projects, this is what you'd be getting. You see I only included the drawings. Total project estimate is the construction estimate is $523,000. That's the estimate. I think my estimate on this project was $500,000 when I brought it to you. The current capital budget includes funds under project 01245 of $600,000. So it's under the right now it's under the budget. The design plus the estimate, the construction estimate. We'll come back to the board if we need additional money to fund the construction portion of this, but we won't know that until we get bids. But staff's recommendation is to approve.
And we're expecting to get a number of bids. We're not worried about that.
It's gonna be advertised on the newspaper. It's gonna be advertised at the plan rooms. We suspect we'll get
The talk's already gone out now.
Yeah.
Okay,
They market it a little bit too. They haven't done that yet.
any other questions?
With one correction, can I say one correction? We're going to change the mandatory pre-bid job walk from Thursday, May 2nd at 10 to Thursday, May 1st at 9 a.m. Excuse me, Wednesday, May 1st at 9 a.m.
What's that now?
We're going to change the mandatory pre-bid job walk
Oh, okay.
from Thursday, May 2nd at 10 to Wednesday, May 1st at 9.
Okay, just the time.
Yeah, we're just changing it. The bid opening still May 14th.
Okay.
We're going to copper line
Yes,
instead of the poly.
yes.
This is a rhetorical question. Why are we doing that?
Because we have not found our issues in the copper lines. Our overall leak issues in the copper lines.
Copper lines are more expensive, but they last longer.
Yes.
And they're easier to repair when it is time.
Yeah. That's debatable.
That's something to true.
Yeah, that's debatable. But yeah, but
Not in copper.
But they are more expensive. But really, you're only paying for say 30 lineal feet, and difference of $9 lineal feet. So each one's costing an additional, say in round numbers, additional $300.
All right. Have a motion for NB5 surface line replacement project. So moved. Motion Director Stewart, second. Webb. Second Director Webb. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion carried. NB5. NB6. Approval of Roseland Boulevard Utility Cover Adjustment Project and authorizing to go out for bid.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is just to raise the utilities back to grade once they're done with that mess that's currently out there on Roseland Boulevard. So so our staff did that internally. We pulled them all internally and lowered them. We actually did AVEX as well, by the way. AVEX had a few valves that were also in the way. They asked us to do it. We kept track. We're gonna bill them for our time to do that for them, but we actually did theirs as well. So this project is just for ours, so just
seen what's going on, what's going on out there.
Yep.
And when it's all through, then we have to bring them back up.
Yep.
Any questions?
I thought we talked at one time about having the contractor that's doing the work bring it back.
They certainly will be able to bid them. In fact, they'll probably be in an advantageous position to bid on it.
All right. Any other questions about the utility coverage project? All right, have a motion for NB6. Director Wallace makes the motion. A second. Second, Director Stewart. All in favor of NB6, say aye. Opposed, sign. Motion carries. NB7, we're almost getting up to double numbers here. Request the cancellation of the May 6, 2024 regular board meeting due to the fact that Rick cannot be here. Oh, is that what it said?
No, I don't. You won't be here. I'll be here. You won't be here.
Due to the lack of a quorum. Who's the quorum?
Wait a minute.
So,
Director Webb can't.
Director Stewart's attending.
I would just be facetious.
So, but who's going to be? Who's not going to be here?
So, Director Webb, would you be able to be at this meeting?
Yeah,
Yes. But Director Stewart will be absent. Director Glennon would be absent.
No, I'm not going to.
You're not going to go? To the,
No.
okay, so then we would have a quorum. So we have
If we
Rick,
don't cancel it,
Ben,
I'll be on. I'm not going either. Well,
so you'll be here. So we would have a
that's what
quorum.
happened. I had doctor's appointment. They did find something.
Okay.
I didn't want to wait till last minute.
I understand.
I don't believe I signed up for any comments.
Okay.
so
I
there's no
apologize, I thought
need.
you were going.
So there's no need.
There's no need, we can take this off of the,
So can I, Mr. President, can I make a motion that we take this off the agenda?
Or you can just, you can just,
Or we can just
you can die for lack of motion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, we can do either one.
Well, you're not going to the council?
No.
All right. We'll NB7 die for a lack of a motion, and there will be the regular meeting on May the 8th at the regular time. All right. Director's reports and comments, future agenda items. Stand up, Mr. Washington.
All right, because I was sitting down. Thank you, Mr. President. Some interesting news came out this morning. The EPA announced that they have established first ever limits on forever chemicals in drinking water. Utilities will now have up to 3 years to test their drinking water under this new rule. Those that find high levels of PFAS will need to install treatment devices by 2029. There'll be $1 billion in federal funding available for utilities that get in compliance. So, interesting stuff came out today. That's all I have.
Doing something about it. Somebody's going to hit that with a control crash into somebody. So, other than that, all I want to say, everybody that's complaining about traffic in Roseman, if you weren't complaining about the traffic, you would be complaining about the roads. There you go. Let's be happy. This is all we're dealing with. We should be good after this. So, that's all I got. All right. That was really one-sided there, Mr. Stewart. Director Webb. Yes, sir. A couple of things. First of all, going back to what Director Washington spoken of, I attended a webinar. I was talking about the PFAS and whatnot. And the only thing that the presentation was well, but that $1 billion is probably not going to be enough. Southern California probably swallowed that in an hour as far as getting it cleaned up. The interesting part about it is that, and I liken it to the homeless and COVID and everything else. Once you make it an issue, you start throwing money at it. You got to find money to throw at it. But anyway, that's a part of it. I also attended a webinar on developing succession plans, and Mr. Jim, I'd like you to know a lot of the things we have in place. I call it surely about a word in a plan that I looked at, and it's just wording. But a lot of the things that we have in place, they were talking about in the seminar, which means that we were on the right track. And the last one I attended, it was through Wastewater Digest, they were talking about at some point about AI helping to run your wastewater treatment plant. So, yeah, it was just mad at you, right? But it was interesting because I think AI is a hot topic now. But it was talking about the different type of hookups that you could have to have the plant, because everyone's looking at getting rid of personnel now to have machines do it. Until the machine gets tired of doing it, and they take them over. But it was 3 different seminars, and a lot of the things we're doing here at the district, we were kind of touching the peripheries of them. Because I enjoyed them, and this kind of shows that we are, in fact, doing our things here. That's all I have there, sir. Thank you.
All right. General Counsel update. John?
I will note that I am now standing to report that I have nothing to report.
Good to hear your point, sir.
Happy to be here.
General Manager update.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just two items.
There's a lot of talking tonight.
I know, I'm sorry. So plant tour has been, we actually set a date for a plant tour for the board. And right now, tentatively, May 23rd in the morning. I don't know what would be a good time for you. Just let us know if that works or doesn't work. But May 23rd right now is I've worked a date out with Ryan, and Ryan will conduct it, and he loves to talk about his plan.
What time?
Sometime in the morning. Right now, tentatively 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
On the 23rd of May, is there 25 other people?
Sure, absolutely. Gotta make sure Ryan knows that.
23rd of May.
Yeah, so if you just let us know how many people, because it's a bit of a walk, but it's okay to do. And then also the other item I have is so the sheriff's department's been reaching out to us about finding space here again in the admin building to use. Yeah. And I wanted to report that to you because it's your facility. Our staff doesn't believe that we have the space for them, but if it's something you want to accommodate, I would certainly listen to that direction. Apparently it's so big a deal that I'm actually going to get a phone call from the CAO, the county CAO tomorrow. So it's kind of a big deal.
Did you say that you're for it?
No, I said I don't think we have the space for it right now. But certainly, if that's something that this board wants for us to consider, we certainly will look at it harder.
What are they looking for? Like a place to put sponsors, source of equipment?
Yes.
Well, they want to have an office.
They want to have a presence here. And, since everybody's been directed here for the last, I don't know. Do we finally get them off our?
No, they're still coming.
They're still coming here. Oh my gosh.
Sir, can I make a suggestion for that?
Yes, sir.
I know we probably don't have space inside here, but I'm just thinking this side over here, how they get those temporary buildings or whatever. I don't know if the side is built district office here, but maybe because I'm going to argue why cramp us to benefit them when they're the ones that left initially and make them driving their feet. But they have temporary stations, buildings that you can bring out there, and that could be an option. But I think you guys are kind of cramped for your space as it is.
Yeah, definitely within this building, yes.
Yeah.
Now, if the direction from the board is to consider some space up there, we can start talking.
I'm just thinking of ways to help them help us. But like I said, it wouldn't be fair to you guys to double stack you guys to benefit them.
Thinking about the community, to be quite frank with everybody, thinking about the community. No, I don't think we have the space here, but we do need a presence. I mean, absolutely.
I agree. When you realize there are other vacant storefronts
Yeah.
in town.
Yeah.
Other
How
offices.
about the building on 20th Street? They can use some of that King money over there. Pick that place up.
I looked at that one before when we were down.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking, when they built one of the stations I worked at, we, for 3 or 4 years, worked out of trailers.
Yeah.
And
That definitely is an option. I mean, I would say that would
they
be
get the presence up here, which would kind of need two things, secure inside here, and then have a place there, and no one will be kind of inconvenienced.
Are they going to build on the sheriff's station about parking too and all that stuff?
Aren't they going to build a new sheriff's station?
My understand that yes, but I haven't heard anything else. That's going to be one of the questions I'm going to ask Ms. Martinez.
Well,
Already had to leave approval, so we got to talk.
Really?
That's what the sergeant said.
What'd she say? Well, apparently apparently they think it's going to be built in 12 months.
well, the representatives said that there's in plans, what she said.
I'll find out from Elsa Martinez reached out to me. I'll find out from Ms. Martinez.
I think they're going to build right here somewhere.
They're over there next to the fire station. Yeah.
That would make a lot of people in town happy.
Any questions for the general manager?
Yeah, right quick, I had a question, I'm sorry. I wanted to go back to the PFAS because I didn't want to startle the public or anything, but in terms of abating, Kim, isn't that a pretty simple process? It's like a membrane, or it's just capturing, kind of like a cloth, capturing water passing through a cloth, huh?
So they've looked at, I know the EPA has been testing different technologies, membranes, they've looked at carbon, they've looked at a lot of different, and they've had some success with some. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I think the issue, we are going down, just FYI, just my opinion. We're going to follow whatever the regulators tell us we have to follow. I'm going to give you my opinion on this. Is that we are taking, or the EPA is taking the levels down so far. We're going to be so far compared to European standards, all the other rest of the world, their standards. And the amount of you talked about $1 billion. It's probably a drop in the bucket on what's going to actually be required to remove it to that level. And fortunately, it is on the. I don't want to alarm anybody because we haven't tested it yet. But I don't know. I think we're non-detect right now, but at the levels that they're talking about, we may have some detection there.
So Greg, you were talking about the filtration part for the PFAS.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that I was listening to, they said one of the better ways of doing it is through reverse osmosis, but doesn't that
that's a membrane.
I know that's what I'm saying, but doesn't that create waste that you still got to get rid of?
Yeah, there's
That's what I'm saying. So whatever we push it through, you catch it, but you still got to dispose of it.
Right.
Right.
Well, then,
I can't understand why, but like in California, it's not really an issue, but like North Carolina and some of these other states, I know Tampa, Florida, have rolled out the membrane process to capture particles in the water. So we'll see how this plays out.
Are they using that for seawater, Greg? I'm just curious.
Oh, I'm not sure if it was
I'm pretty sure it's the brackish water, seawater.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
Okay.
It's very expensive. I just know that. It's very expensive.
Right. Okay.
All right.
A lot of new business tonight, huh?
Yep.
Moving on, Director Administration update.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had shutoffs occur yesterday and today. We only had a total of 5.
Wow.
3 of the past due customers and then 2 of the customers that had payment arrangements. So they've drastically dropped, which I'm happy to not turn off so many customers. Just a reminder also about the Antelope Valley Resource Conservation District workshop. The district is hosting the workshop here this Saturday. This Saturday, we have the first workshop at 9. It'll be the same presentation that we had a couple of board meetings ago. So we've opened it up to the public, and we've had it advertised in our newsletter, and we've done an email blast.
What's it about? I didn't hear.
The workshop is about the Cash for Grass, the lawn rebate program, and about their programs at the nursery at Live. So if you can come by at 9 o'clock is the first one and 11 o'clock is the second one.
Great.
That's the end of my report.
That's 13, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Quick comment, Sherry. Ran into a gentleman in Albertsons. He's a representative from the Red Cross, and he wanted me to thank you again for your efforts along with your staff to get the Red Cross and what they do out there visual. And he said he was going to come to our next meeting and speak in the public comments and just talk a little more in detail about what the Red Cross has to offer to his community. I was kind of surprised to hear some of the things they have to offer. But he wants to thank you again, you and your staff for the efforts.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Any questions for the Director of Administration? All right, moving on. Director of Public Works update.
Mr. President, Mr. Howard is not here tonight. He was ill today. I'm going to take blame for this because I'm the one that put the board packet together, but he did provide a public works report, which I did not include in the board packet, so. Oh, you are?
Yeah, the picture.
Oh, never mind. Are there any questions?
We love the pictures.
Good save.
I know, they are. Yeah, that's good.
I was impressed. It looks like we doubled our sewer cleaning since the last meeting.
Yeah, they finished what we were doing out there. So it freed them to do that. So
And then 4 fog inspections. That was nice to see.
yeah. Yep. They're getting after it. Any other questions, comments? Making sure.
Any questions for the General Manager concerning Public Works?
I don't know. Can I just make one comment before we end? When I do these seminars at RCAC, it's a rule, one, not another. They are good 2-hour seminars, and a lot of the stuff is applicable to our size districts. If you folks have 2 hours, if you go on their site, the ones they have online, a lot of the stuff, it's good stuff that we do here. It's geared towards some of the smaller districts. They're just a good 2-hour educational tool that keeps you a little bit better informed. But like I said, I encourage everybody to take a look at it. Okay? Yeah.
All right. The last page. I have a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. Director Stewart makes the motion. Director Webb, the second. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? The motion is carried with the exception of Mr. Washington. You have to stay standing.
Stay standing, huh, for at least 5 more minutes?
Good to hear from you, everyone.
There you go. You guys